view from the Cop. Sheffield Wednesday drawing 2-2 at Blackburn Rovers. Disappointing really, being 2-0 up. They managed to pull it back and could have really won it in the end. Let's go back to the start of the match. Bit of a different side really. Bannon on the bench, Ingleson and Charles in the middle, Gassama and Masaba both on, so you got that attacking down the flanks. But at the back we'd got 5 at the back, sort of playing a 5 at the back, and later on, before they scored their second, we went to a 4. Is that the thing about the match? No, really. I think the data can tell you quite a lot about football matches. I mean, obviously we scored 2 goals. Again, we don't really struggle to score goals. We create a lot of chances and we score goals, but we do concede goals. And they say you defend from the front. One of the stats that's come up from the match is that our final third passes success rate is 52%. Blackburn's was 64%, and the last time that we actually got a win, we've only won 1 in 5 now and 2 in 9. But the last time we got a win, we were passing it over 70%. So that just sort of shows you, really. Playing a side like Blackburn, who had a really, really awful run going into the game, we're exactly the type of club that anybody would want to play when they go on a really bad run, because we are the gift that just keeps on giving. I think this is a thing that this season, and again, I probably, as a lot of the other podcasters are, saying that we just a bit like a broken record, you know. We flipped it around a little bit today because quite often we have a poor first half and pick it up in the half-time break. I think potentially we got it wrong this time because they had the bulk of possession the first half, and without really troubling us that badly. I mean, playing 5 at the back, you'd expect, you know, we'd be quite steady. With Masaba and Gassama going forward, I mean, that worked really well, and Masaba's not been as good this year, really, probably as he was last, but his run for the second goal, Gassama finished it absolutely fantastically, but Masaba's run was really, really good. Valery put us in front quite early on, and it was sort of end-to-end stuff, I suppose you could say. As I say, we didn't really seem like we were struggling that much. They scored early on in the second half, and I think there was a little bit of a panic set in because we brought on 3 substitutions 8 minutes after that. We were under the cosh a little bit at the time. It's not necessarily always a good thing. We'd had Patterson up front, and obviously he puts a shift in. We brought Michael Smith on. Okay, fair enough. Like for like, bit of a different scenario. Very, very good at winning and holding the ball up. Windass for Gassama. Again, you would think that's a decent swap, but we then brought Fameo on for Otigbayo, who had been brought in at the back to sort of show things up. He did okay, got lost a couple of times. He's only a young lad. I'm sure he's going to get there. A lot of people say, oh, he's just not good enough. Well, what are we expecting? What bar are we trying to reach to? Is he not good enough to play in the Premiership? No. Is he good enough to be a mid-table Championship side? Yes, he is. And he's Piers Charles, and you could potentially say that he had some failings in both of those goals that we conceded tonight. The first one, quite strange, sort of hit one of the shortest players on the pitch, and he managed to angle it to loop it over right into the top corner, and Charles just couldn't quite get there. The second one, he dived, and I don't know whether he even got a hand to it, but just seemed a little bit, perhaps a bit naive at times with his placement, and he just seems a little bit lost amongst a bunch of really big defenders and attackers. When that ball's coming over, he's not scared to punch. His distribution's excellent, it really is, and that's something that Wednesday really struggle with, because he's sending the ball out, he's finding a player, but in that final third, every other ball we give it away. We're not sticking crosses in, so we've got those runs coming in from Gassama and Masaba, which are really, really good, but they're not crossing the ball over to a striker. They're actually just taking things on themselves and trying to play that ball through. So just interestingly, I think, so once we started making those substitutions, we brought those 3 on at 59 minutes, and then Armstrong came on for Valery at 70, which is quite an interesting one. Now, Armstrong is a good player, maybe a little bit rusty in his last match. He gets involved, but by bringing Armstrong on for Valery, that meant that we were not going to be playing with a 5 at the back. We went to a 4. Only 85 minutes they scored, so they continued on with their sort of dominance of the second half. We didn't really throw anything much back. And really interesting, actually, when we took Masaba off and we brought on Kabachki, he was playing more in towards the middle, so we didn't really have an outlet on that left-hand side. On the right-hand side, the outlet would have been Windass. Got forward, got into some good positions, always gets himself into a good striking position, scores worldies, misses sitters, so we got nothing out of that. So I think we were much less effective that second half, and you've got to look after players like Masaba coming back after being out for a while. Gassama having the world on his shoulders can be a bit difficult as well. But once both of those had gone off, that was it. We didn't really have much of a shout, and left ourselves wide open, and probably on both sides really after that, and going to a 4 at the back, and ultimately very poor defending for their second goal, which came 5 minutes away from end of time. Are we seeing the season out now? Teams above us are not really firing on all cylinders. I mean, the fact that we've not really slipped that much is down to the fact that we've not really been picking results up, but the teams above us have not been picking results up either. I mean, the dream's got to have gone now. I mean, it would be an absolute miracle if we managed to pick up the points and get into that top 6. I just don't think that's possible now. But I think we've got to rue these opportunities, and I just don't know what we're going to see, what's to come. After everything that's happened, it's going to be really interesting to see what Wednesday is going to look like at the beginning of next season. Who's going to be in charge? Who's going to be the chairman? Who's going to be the manager? And how many players are going to be left? At least we're looking more likely to still be a club, and hopefully we don't get anything silly like not just the transfer embargoes, but the potential for any points deduction or anything like that. We don't want to be starting off next season with anything like that. And then over the other side of the city, they seem to be chucking it away. They're down to 3rd now. At least we might be having an extended season watching what's going off on the other side. But for now, until this Saturday, see you later.